All right, today's topic is pickups, how to make the pickups and maybe activate them. So we're going to take a look at how to do that. First, I always like to start the day with just running the game just to see what it does, to make sure we're on the right game and everything was working as it was supposed to. I think where we left it last time was we'd be able to keep score and here blow up a tank and should increase the score and reset the room. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We've got the destroyable walls working, right? We fixed that the other day. So this is day 4, I guess, of how to build this game. So we want to add the pickup objects. Just like most times when we're adding an object, you first start with the sprites. So we're going to look at the sprites first. So I'm going to create a new sprite, create sprite. And we'll call this sprite, and we're going to use plural here, so we'll say sprite pickups, because this sprite will be used for all the pickups. And we're going to have 4 different types of pickups. So sprite pickups. And then we'll say import, and we'll go to our repository and grab. It looks like a rocket, but it's actually this one here, okay, pickup. Now, once you open it, you'll notice that it's got multiple frames in it. See right here? We got multiple frames. Let me move this a bit. Okay, so these are the frames. Now, frames are numbered from 0. Start counting at 0. So this is frame 0. This is frame 1. This is frame 2. This is frame 3. We're going to use that order all the way through our program. So pickups of type 1 will be rockets. Pickups of type 2 will be bouncing bombs, and so on. So we have to make a couple changes. Since the old version of GameMaker used to use the bottom left-hand corner pixel as a transparent, but now they have transparent built into the image system. So what we're going to do is say Edit Image, and we're going to look at each one of these pickups, except for the last one, because the last one fills up the whole frame, so you don't have to do any transparency. But on the bouncing bombs and shields and all of that, you want to take that out of the way. But you don't need to do that here because there is no background color. It fills up the entire box, so we're good there. Okay. So now we have our sprites, or we should have our sprites ready to go. Now we have to make the pickup object. Before we do that, though, I'd like to set up some more constants. Or it's what GameMaker calls a macro, okay? So where do we set up our macros before? Well, remember we have a controller object, and in that the controller's create event, that's here, we have these macros. So we're going to add a few more macros here, okay? And this is for the pickups now. So the pickup at position 0, we'll leave the value at 0, but we're going to call this one, and use all caps on this because these are constants. You would say rocket underscore underscore pickup. Okay. So that frame at position 0 is the rocket pickup. So that's what we're going to do there. And then we're going to add another one. You'll see the pattern in a second. This is the bouncing bomb one, so I actually spell it all the way out. Bouncing bomb pickup. I see a lot of people not use my names for things, which I think is a huge error because later on when you have to type in the name in like some code and you're not picking it from a list, a lot of people get it typed in wrong. So please use the names I give you. You'll save yourself a lot of grief if you do that, and also me a lot of grief having to come over and fix your typos. So rocket pickup, bouncing bomb. The third one was the shield pickup. So you say shield pickup. And that's going to be 2. That's at position 2 in our little sprite sheet thing. And then finally, our last pickup is I call it the tank fix pickup. And we'll set that equal to 3. And each one of these represents not only the position of the frame that has the right pickup picture in it, but it's also going to be the type of secondary weapon the tank will have. We'll use these same constants. Okay, so now we have our constants. We can use them then in our pickup object. So let's create our pickup object now. Right click on that, say create object. And here, this is a singular thing. You're just creating one pickup. So it's not pickups, it's pickup, all a lowercase though. Object pickup, and we'll use the pickup sprite. The reason why we put a sprite on it, even though that's not the right picture for a lot of the pickups, is at least we have something to use in the editor when we're dragging these into the room. But clearly, we don't want all the pickups to be rocket pickups. We'd like them to be all the kind of a mixture of all the types. So what we can do then is we can randomly select one of these pickups. So if we say at a create event, when these pickups are first created, what we want to do is randomize their type, okay, or make it random. So I would say, here I would say choose, okay, choose. And what we'll do is we'll add different options. So our first option is going to be our constant, actually. We'll say rocket pickup. So we are in the create event of the pickup. And then we want to add some other options here. There's rocket. So here, hit the plus sign here. And then the next one is bouncing bomb. Lots of typing. Bouncing bomb pickup. I just have caps lock on. Here is, that's the shield one. Shield pickup. And then finally, we have the tank. The tank fix pickup, that one. And we want to store it in a variable. And we want this variable to live on the pickup. So we're not going to make it temporary. We want it actually to survive this event handler. So we're going to call it type. What type of pickup we have? I would use lowercase though, because type is not a constant. It's a variable. So that creates a variable called type on the pickup itself. And it will tell you what type of pickup it is. I'll have one of these four values. And it'll be the values of these constants. Okay, so you've done that. So now, how do you show? You want to show the user what type of pickup it is. You don't just want to set the type. You want to show the user what type it is. So we have to. I guess we have to go to the draw event of the pickup. So let's do that. So go back to the pickup object. That's here, and we're adding a draw event. Draw event. Okay, so we're drawing. So what are we drawing? Well, which one do we want? I guess it's this one. Draw sprite. Okay. Draw sprite. Now remember, you can only draw in the draw event. If you try to draw somewhere outside of the draw event, it's not going to do that. It doesn't let you. What are we drawing? Well, we're drawing our pickup sprite, right? But we want to get the right frame. Here's our pickup sprite. We'll draw it wherever the pickup is. So we'll just make it relative 0, 0. But then which frame do we use? This is where we get really sneaky. Instead of saying 0, 1, 2, or 3, what you can say is, well, since our type matches up with our sprite 1 to 1, and they're all in the right positions, we can just say type here. Okay? right? And that's pretty much it. So let's try it. Well, first we have to put some pickups in the room, so let's do that. So what I do usually is I take the pickups and I put them in the corner. And I put them all in the corner, like this. Usually I do use 6 pickups, but if you want more or fewer, you can do that as well. Okay, so I'm just putting 6 pickups on there. They look like they're all rocket pickups. But remember, in our create event, what we're doing is we're changing them to a random pickup type. So let's see if that actually occurs. I'm going to run it, and we'll see if those pickups, we see a nice assortment of different things. So if you look up at the top corner, you see I have 2 tank fixing pickups, 2 bouncing bombs, another tank, and then a shield. Okay, so you see that those were randomly selected. Now if I run this again, my expectation is I'll get a different set of pickups. So I'm running it again, but I think what you'll find is that the set stays the same each time. See how it's exactly the same? Now to most people you'd say, well, that's not random, is it? And the answer is no, it's not random. Why are we getting the same pickups even though it's supposed to be random? And the answer is, well, we forgot to randomize the random number generator. Remember, the random number generator puts in kind of a random seed for the random number generator, and then you get a different sequence. So what we have to do in order to get different types of pickups is we go to the controller object. Since there's only 1 per game, that's a good place to randomize your choices. So here, if you type in random, let's say, that's resources though. Let me get the right part here. Yeah, here you say random. There's this one, randomize. You want to do that. And what the computer does is it finds some kind of weird random number generator seed. Maybe it's the number of milliseconds since midnight, or something that changes all the time, like the time. They'll use that to randomize the random number generator. And now when we run the program, you'll see that the sequence of pickups is different. See how it's different? We have a tank fixing, bouncing bomb, a couple rockets, a shield, and a fixer-upper thing. And then if we run it again, my hope is that we get 2 different sets of, yeah, those are much different. Lots of rockets for some reason, okay? So now it's randomizing correctly, but it would clearly not really work very well having all the pickups in the corner of the room. That gives a huge advantage to tank 1 and not so much tank 2. So not only do we have to randomize the type of the pickups, we also have to randomize their location. Okay? So then the question is, how do we move these around randomly in the room? And the answer is, well, it's complicated. This used to be pretty easy, but now it's not so easy. How do we move these pickups to random locations in the room? Well, we could do it like this. I guess you could go to, if we go to the pickup object, here's our pickup object. And in the create event, what we can do is not only can we randomly select what type of pickup we are, we can also randomize its position. So we could say, well, let's just change its x and y location. So here what I would do is I would say var for variable. And we're going to set a couple variables here. Our variable is going to be the x coordinate. And our value is going to be irandom. That generates a random whole number And we look down at our room size, and we see our room is 1280. So we say 1280, let's say. So it will pick a whole number between 0 and 12,079 for the x-coordinate. And then we can also randomize the y-coordinate as well. And we use the exact same statement. We'd say I_random. That generates a random integer between 0 and 1 less than 1,280. It's not relative. These are absolute locations. It's not relative to anything. So let's see what this does. My hope is that the pickups will be scattered all over the room. And we see, yes, they are scattered all over the room. However, there's a couple issues. One of the issues is, well, some of the pickups are spawning where there already is something there, like a wall. That's a big problem, right? Another thing about the pickups is some of them, like this one, isn't aligned with the grid. And if you're OCD like I am, then that will bother you, right? I prefer them to be lined up with the grid. So there's a lot of problems with this idea of just randomly moving, blindly moving these pickups to a different part of the room. We did that, right? We have 6 pickups there, but they're kind of embedded in walls and not lined up. So how do we fix that? Well, the first thing we can do is we can try to get them lined up at least. So how do you make them align with the grid? Well, you could do a snap to grid kind of thing. There's a drag and drop thing for making it aligned. But we can align it ourselves when we generate it. And let me show you how I'm going to do that. We know that our grid size, if we go to the room, here's the room. We know that the grid size is 32 by 32. So instead of generating numbers between 0 and 1,028 or 1,279, what we can do is we can generate numbers between 0 and 39. If we take the room size, like 1,280, and divide it by 32, we get 40. Okay. So what I'm thinking is you could do this. You could say, here we're back at the pickup again. We're in the create event. We're trying to set its position. Here, instead of this, I would say 40 instead. And then multiply it by our grid size, 32. Okay. So again, that's I_random. And do the same thing here. If we say 40. Because if we take our room size and divide it by 32, we get 40. So that should, in theory, line up all the pickups so that they're aligned with the grid. So let's see if that works. I'm looking for a pickup in a wall, but you can see like this one down here, it's lined up perfectly. The other ones, maybe you can't really tell. These two look pretty much on the same line, so maybe that helps a little bit. Let me run it again, just to see if we get to see some more examples. What I'm trying to find is a pickup embedded in the wall. We don't want that, but it will tell us whether it's lined up. So here's a pickup embedded in the wall, and it's in Happy Land, right? Because it's lined up. Now, we don't want to have pickups embedded in the wall because you can't pick them up when they're in the wall, but that's at least they're lined up now. Like this one you can see is lined up as well. Okay, so the pickups are aligned with the grid. It looks a little bit more professional. But now what we have to figure out is how do we avoid this problem where the pickup gets randomly moved into a wall or something that's already there. Like worst place would be like a tank. Okay, how do you make sure that the pickup doesn't embed itself in something it shouldn't. This is where it gets really hard, because you have to kind of look to see if there's anything there first, and if there's nothing there, then we can put something there. Unfortunately, when we have to do that, we have to use a data structure we haven't really talked about yet, and that's called a loop. So this is a new concept. Okay. So here, when we generate our pickup in our create event, when we generate this new position, we have to look and see if there's anything in that spot yet. So before we can move it, what I want to do is create some temporary values here. How would I do that? We're in the pickup object. Yeah, I suppose this isn't bad. So you could say, here we're going to say X pose. Okay, so for X position, and here we're going to say Y position. Y pose. Yeah, I would do it like that. Okay, so we have these two variables now. They belong to the object. I don't think that's problematic. It's a little bit wasteful, but now we want to say while there is, say we generate these numbers, and then we say while this that location on the screen is full of something, or it has something there, then we want to generate another set of numbers, and we'll keep doing that until we can find a spot where the X position, Y position indicates there's a square that's empty. Okay, that's kind of hard to do. Okay, so let's do it. So this is a new one we haven't used yet. It's called while. Okay, basically you want to do something while something is true. Okay, you got these things to do while something is true. So I would drag that here. Now it's a loop, okay, which means it will keep looping while whatever you're checking is true. Once that check becomes false, then you can finally get out of the loop. So what are we checking is the question. Well, the variable we're looking for, it's not a variable. We're actually going to call a GML function or method directly. It's called place. See this one, place empty. That one there, place empty. And it takes two parameters. It takes an X position and a Y position, and it checks to see if there's anything there. And what we want to do is, if that place is not empty, so if place empty is equal to false, so here instead of 0, if you could type in false. In actuality, behind the scenes, 0 and false evaluate to the same thing. They're both 0, but here you're saying logically, if this place is empty, or is not empty, basically, or if this place empty returns false. So basically saying, if this is not empty, then we just want to generate another set of variables, or another set of coordinates. So I would copy this. So just click on it and say Control-C, and then click on this one and say Control-V. And you want to drag this. This is super important, or otherwise you have an infinite loop right here, and then you can't get out. You want to make sure that to drag this to the right of the while loop, so it's controlled by the while loop. So it's kind of like an if statement, but it's for a loop. And it'll keep doing this over and over and over until place empty returns true, telling you, yeah, that place is empty. So you're never going to get out of this loop until you find an empty square. Now there's lots of empty squares, so there's no shortage of that in this game. So the only way out of this loop is if it's empty. And if it's empty, well, we just want to move there, I guess. So here we say jump. Jump to position, or jump to point. Drag it underneath this while loop, so it's after the while loop. And here we say, let me zoom in a bit. here we say X position and then Y position. So we just generated an X position, Y position here. It found an empty spot. So then it's going to jump to that location. How can we prove that this works correctly? Well, we could just run it a few times just to see if we ever see a pickup that's embedded into a wall, right? So I'll save this, and we'll run it. And you'll note that our pickups look pretty much free from the wall. If I try it again, so I'm going to do it 2 or 3 times, just to see, make sure that none of the pickups are in walls. That looks pretty good. And then this one here. Yeah, so I don't know. It seems like it's working to me. I will have to keep an eye on it, but it seems like the pickups are not being embedded into the walls. They seem to be spawned in places where things aren't, and that's what you want. Okay. So really cool pickup system. Now we have these pickups, but then the question is, well, how do you pick them up, I guess, is the next question. So the way you do it is you go over here and you drive over the pickup. Well, what do you notice about the drawing order here? Yeah, it gets drawn over the tank, and this is supposed to be, the tank's supposed to drive over it. So our pickups are on the wrong, we're getting drawn in the wrong order, which is bad. So how do you fix that? How do you fix that drawing order problem? Anybody know the answer to that? Yeah, the way you control that is by using layers, right? This is kind of new to GameMaker, but layers allow you to do this. You want this pickup layer to be underneath the tank layer. So remember, it starts on the order, it does the background first, then the instances, and then whatever comes next. And so what I would do is I would create another layer here. Okay? And we're going to call this layer, I'm going to rename this layer. We'll call it, this sounds terrible, but let's just call it the pickup layer. So we just call it pickups, maybe the pickups layer. So the pickups themselves will have their own layer. But realize we want the pickups to be drawn before the instances. So you want to also drag this order. Once you have it renamed, drag this and make sure it's in the middle here. So first the background's going to get drawn, then the pickups, then the instances. Okay? But what that means is when we create the pickups, right, these pickups are now on the wrong layer. When we put them in the room, see, we can't select them right now. It's because we're on the wrong layer. You want to be on the instances layer. And again, you have to take all these pickups off. So I'm selecting them. Let's see if I can cut them. I want to Control X. Yeah. And then go to the pickups layer and then put them back. Okay. So we're just moving them from the instances layer to the pickups layer. Okay. All right, so that's cool. So now let's check out in the order then to see if it draws it right. Again, we're hoping that the pickups will get drawn before the tanks get drawn. So here I am driving away, and hopefully, oh, that's good. See that? The tank now is driving over the pickup, which is what we want. Now, does it really matter? Well, remember, as soon as we hit a pickup, we're going to destroy it, I guess. We're not really destroying it. We're just going to move it and have it re-randomized. But at least now the pickups are drawn on the right layer. Let's check the other tank just to make sure. Yeah, so it looks like the other one's working too. Okay? So another question. A lot of people have this problem. Like, say, if I restart the level, let me just restart. If I get out of alignment here, I'm trying to get out of here, but clearly I'm not colliding with the wall. Why doesn't it let me out? See, I'm going forward, and it's not letting me out of this thing. It's just I'm stuck here. Finally, let's go. If I find the right key combination, I kind of get stuck in the wall. I can't. There, finally, I get out. Okay. So that gameplay-wise, that's terrible, right? So how do you fix that? Well, we can't really change the collision mass of the blocks because it's just a block, right? It takes up the whole square. But we can change the collision mass of the tank. Collision masks are used for collisions, but they're also used to detect if something hits you, like a shell. So, for example, here's a tank over here, and I'm clearly not hitting the tank. Oops. Okay, so if I fire here, I'm going to go forward a little bit more. Yeah, that's pretty tight. But the problem is driving around is a real pain. You get to a place where a skinny hallway and you're trying to get in. Say, for example, if I blast away these walls here. So blast, 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 blast. And then I'm trying to get in right there, and I can't because my edge is catching down below. So I'll do it again. I'm trying to drive in. I should be able to drive in, but I can't because my collision mask is too big. Okay? So what I'm suggesting is we should make our sprites a little bit smaller, or not smaller, but the collision mask a little bit more precise. So here's tank 1 sprite. If we go to collision mask, see that? Right now it's just set to be the width of the sprite, which is fine, but again, those sharp corners are really tough. And so what I'm suggesting is on the collision mask, instead of saying automatic rectangle, you could say automatic ellipse. Now it tells you this is slow, right? But there's only 2 objects we have to worry about. There's the 2 tanks. And it's got rounded corners now. You can see there's a kind of an elliptical thing there. And the corners have been chopped off, which means your corners aren't going to catch on you anymore. If you want to be super specific, you can set, instead of automatic, you can say manual here. Here's full image. That's about the same, I guess. Automatic. Or if you want to set it more precisely, you can say manual. And then you can, pull down these sizes here and make the collision mask relatively small. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would say instead of manual, I would say automatic. And then here, kind of messed it up. So let me do rectangle again. Rectangle. Yeah, it's got numbers down here. So let me put it back the way it was. Okay, so these were up at the corners, and this was down here. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe something that looks like a football, something like like there. But you can say automatic. And this is tank 1, right? We need to do the same thing to tank 2. You want to make sure they're exactly the same. So again, we're doing the collision mask. We're changing it to ellipse. And we'll call that good. Yeah. Oh, wow. I hadn't thought of that. You're right. Because if we're at an angle, we want the collision mask to rotate with the what direction the tank is going. So I didn't even read that one. Rectangle with notation. Oh, that's good. Let's do that one instead. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's a very good idea. So let's try that. I find sometimes when you have a sharp edge like that, if you make it a circle, then the rotation really doesn't matter. But this might be better. Okay, so now as it rotates, it's going to rotate the collision mask along with it. So let's try it now and see if it works a little bit better. So if I'm a little bit off coming out of here, can I get out? Yeah, I can get out a little bit easier. You kind of have to try it yourself, but getting in is a lot easier too, okay? See that? Yeah, and let's try the other tank too now. So I'm going to see if I can get in my parking spot down here. That's always kind of a tight fit. Yeah, it's a little simpler getting in, okay? I think the reason for that is that the collision mask is rotating along with the image like was suggested. That's a really good suggestion. So yeah, let's go with that. Now if you still find it a little too constraining, you can make the box a little smaller than the tank. It gives you a little bit more room. In actuality, GameMaker doesn't even care about the sprite. All it cares about is collision mask. The sprite is just a skin that GameMaker puts on top of it. But all right, so we've got our collision mask sorted out. We've got our layering of our pickups kind of working. So then the next question is, well, how do we actually pick it up? Okay, how do we actually transfer that pickup information to the weapon and ammo of the tank? Well, first of all, we don't have any place to store that, right? We go to the tank, and it's like, well, tank parent, right? We go to the creative end, and we're looking for variables to store these things, and they don't exist. We've got health, we've got friction, but there's no weapon, and there's no ammo. So we got to add those. So here I would do another assigned variable here. We're creating variables. Our first one is going to be called weapon. Now clearly the tank fixing pickup is not a weapon, but we'll still call it weapon. And we'll set its initial value to 0, which actually means rocket. Remember, 0 was rocket, but we're going to only show the rocket as the secondary weapon if you have ammo. If you don't have ammo, then we won't show it. So that's okay to use 0 here. And then I would also hit the plus sign here. We're going to create another one called ammo. On some of our pickups, you get 10 pieces of ammunition. So for like rockets, you get 10 rockets. The bouncing bombs, you get 10 bouncing bombs. Shields, you get 10 shields. But the tank fixing thing, you don't get 10 anything. It just fixes your tank. Okay? So now we have 0 ammo, 0 weapons. Well, then how do we pick it up? Well, I think we do that also in the parent tank. So here we are in the parent tank. What happens when we collide with a pickup? Well, what do we do? Well, first thing to check is just to weed things out. The first thing I would check for is whether you hit the tank fix-up pickup. Okay. So you would say this. I guess you would say, here you say other. No, you say if. No, yeah, if. This one, if. The variable we want is, well, the type of pickup. But remember, type is only on the pickup itself. So we're in the tank object, so we have to change this to other. So what you're saying is, what is the type on the other thing? In this case, it's the pickup. And we're going to say, if the type is equal to, well, remember, we're using those constants to tell us what kind of things we have. So you say tank, there it is, tank fix pickup, that one. We're going to take care of this one first because it's different than the other three. If it's a tank fix pickup, what do? Well, the answer is we fix the tank, right? So let's do that. Let's fix the tank. You would say, let's say health. We are in the tank, right? That's the one we're doing. And we want to set the health. We'll set the health to 100. Now, we're not saying relative here. And we're going to change this later. But for now, we're just going to restore all the health back to 100. Okay? Now, there's a rule in Game Maker, or a rule in the tank game, I guess, is that you can only have one pickup active at a time. So if you already have a secondary weapon and you have some ammo and you drive over the health pickup, it needs to nuke the ammo and the secondary weapon. So here, we've got to set a variable too. And we have to clear two things. We've got to clear the weapon. We'll set that to 0. And then we'll set the ammo to 0 as well. Okay? So we're clearing the current weapon and the ammo when we drive over the pickup sprite. So there's a good thing to fix up your tank's damage, but you don't get to retain your secondary weapon when you do that. You lose that when you drive over it. I think that's a good trade-off, actually. So what if it isn't the tank fix-up pickup? What do you do instead? Well, let's do the instead part. So you say else. That's what else, right? Grab the else thing and put it on the bottom here. And you say, if the type is equal to tank fix pickup, then do this. Otherwise we know that we picked up a secondary, well, that's kind of like a weapon. You know, you've got the rockets, you got the bouncing bombs, you got the shields, which is not really a weapon, but you get 10 of them. So all of them you get 10 of. So they're similar at least. So here what I would do is I would set the variable again. What variable are we setting? Let's just type in var. We type in var and yeah, there's var. And then we drag that in. So I'm thinking about something else. Here then, we want to set the weapon. Well, what do we want to set it to? Well, we're in the collision event with the pickup, right? So we want to set it to the pickup's type. Okay, so weapon and type are going to have the same values. So here we say, well, other. Yeah, other. Says it's a constant. Okay? So other dot type. So the type on the pickup is going to be the same as the weapon on the tank. Those are going to have the same values. Those are going to match up. We also have to set the ammo. So here we say ammo, remember we created that ammo variable, and we say other dot, no, you just say 10. Okay? So it'll activate the secondary weapon and set the ammo to 10. All right, can we test this? I don't know. I think what we can do is we can test to see if the tank fix pickup works. Okay, so there's the tank fix pickup. I'm going to go make some damage. Ooh, that's easier to drive. I like that idea. So I'm shooting the tank. Tank 2's got lots of damage. It's just about to die. But it sees that tank fix-up pickup one. And so it goes over there, and now it's fixed up. What's the problem here, though? Yeah, if I camp out on here, I can't die, right? Oh, you're here. Good. Let's see if that's true. That doesn't seem at all fair. Here am I just blasting away at tank 1, and notice that the health is staying perfectly fine. Okay? So what did I forget to do? Yeah, I forgot to destroy the pickup when I ran over it. But we really don't want to destroy it. That seems kind of strange, but we don't. We just want to move it. Right? We just want to move it somewhere else. Oh, this is lame. Okay, so here in our pickup, we're in the collision event, right? Here. I think we're in the collision event. Am I right about that? Yeah, we're collision event with pickup between the parent tank and the pickup. Now we want to move the pickup to a new location. But again, we have the same problem that we had before, is that we can't just move it willy-nilly. We have to make sure it's empty first. So we have to do that whole thing again. Okay, so I wish there was a way we could make our own method, right? Because we're going to have to do this in 3 different places. We have to do this when we create the, we have to create the pickups. We have to do it when we run over a pickup. We need to find a random location for that. And what else? We want the pickups to move around and change. If they sit there a while and no one picks them up, then we want them to move to a new position and change maybe their type again after a certain amount of time. In each one of those cases, we're going to want to put it in a place where there isn't something. Okay, so we're going to pause here while I think about this for a second, and then we're going to pick it up where we left off. All right, so we're going to try something kind of strange here. We're going to see if we can make ourselves a script that we can call from those 3 different places. So we say create script. Yeah, look at that. You can drag stuff into it. Right? It's this one called script 0. Can you rename it? I guess you can rename it down here. So we're going to call this one move pickup. So what do we want to put in this script? Well, what we want to put in the script is we want to put what we just did at the beginning of the game, or at the create event of the pickup. So here, in this create event, we have all this fancy stuff. We choose, we assign the new location, we check to see if it's empty, and once we find one that's empty, we jump to that point. All of that we want to do, okay? So I'm just selecting all of these with the Shift key, and I'm copying it. So I'm copying that, and I'm going to put that in our script. This is a really good example of how to use scripts. So we're going to paste it all in here. And now we have a named script that's called move pickup GML. Now to test to see whether this works, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our create event in our pickup here. And in this create event, we're going to nuke all this code. So I'm just going to delete it all. Here's our loop. Delete that. So everything we did before there, and we're going to instead we're going to execute this script. I wonder if I can drag that in here. I can't. So what you do is you say execute. See this one? Execute code. And there's another one here called execute script. We haven't done that one yet. So you use that one. It says, well, what script do you want to execute? And we only have one script called move pickup. And we'll do that one. So my hope is when I run this, I'm going to save it in case it blows up, but when I run this, it'll still do the exact same thing. It will still move the pickups and it will randomize them. And it does. Look at that. So why is that cool? Well, we haven't got to the cool part yet. The cool part is that now I don't have to copy that code 3 different times. All I have to do is call the script. So in the next spot where I need to do that is when the tank, the parent tank, collides with the pickup, the next thing I have to do after I pick it up is we're not really destroying them. We just want to move them to a new location and maybe randomize the type. Well, we already have a script that can do that. So again, what we do is we say, here, you say execute. Again, execute script. You want to put it on the bottom of the else. So drag it here to the bottom of the else. Execute script. And again, we're going to randomize the position. So we say move. Okay. Now, will this work? This may not work. Why won't this work? We say we are no longer in the collision event. We are in a, well, no, we are in the collision event. Oh, this is the collision event. Okay, so we're executing the script. We're just moving it. Yeah. See, the only thing difference between this one and the last one is in the last call to execute script, it was in the pickup itself. Now we're in the tank. Will this still work? I don't think so. I don't think this will work. Okay, so the proof is when I run over this pickup, will it change position and go to someplace else? Now, see what it did? Is it moved my tank. Check it out. It's funny. I hit that. Oh, now the tank's over here. Hit that one. Oh, now I'm over there. So I just made a teleport pickup inadvertently. Okay. So my plan did not work out. Okay. This is bad. Okay. So I have to come up with a new plan. They're not exactly the same. Why? Is because one was written when you were talking about the pickup. You were in the pickup object. This next time, it's not the pickup object. It's the tank. How would we correct this? And the answer is, what is the answer? The answer is to put the collision on the other side. Put the collision on the pickup itself. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so right now we're calling this pickup on this collision between the parent tank and the pickup. But my guess, though, is if we took all this code, I wish there was a way to do multiple selection. Anybody know how to do that? I'm just trying to select all of them. Yeah. Question. If you do the little drop-down thing on execute script and hit other, it fixes Oh, it does. Okay. Okay, so let's try that. That might be a simple fix. Yeah. I was thinking of a fix a little bit more complicated, but the simplest solution is always the best. So you always want to go with that. Ooh, look at that. Does it change types though? Let's see. Oh, it did change type. See that? It's a tank fix-up one. If I drive over it. Ooh, that's a really good idea. So thank you very much. That was an excellent suggestion. Okay, that saves me tons of work. So, yeah. So that seems to be working. Ooh, that's really slick. Let me just make sure it works with the other tank. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So, boy, that's a weight off my back, figuring that out. Okay, so now we can pick things up. Problem is we can't see it, right? We can't see what our primary weapon is, or our secondary weapon is, nor can we see the amount of ammo we have. So we're going to have to go in the draw event of the parent tank, I guess, and draw a little symbol that shows you what your current secondary weapon is and how much ammo you have. And we'll do that next time. But we've made a lot of progress today. We've got the pickup system working, and hopefully we're registering correctly in the tank. We won't know that until we actually draw it. But at least we can see the pickups moving around. There's one other time when the pickup has to move, though. I guess we're not quite done yet with the pickups. We have to do the alarms. So when the pickup is first created, we create an alarm. And then if the alarm goes off, then we just move to a new spot and change our type. So let's just do that quickly. So we're here in object pickup. And what we're going to do in the create event, when the pickup gets created, we're going to set an alarm. Okay? And you can choose how long you want this alarm to be. Again, I'm not sure of the frame rate, but I'm getting a frame rate. I'm thinking of about 50 frames per second. So if you want it to be 10 seconds, you say 50 times 10, that's 500. So every 10 seconds, these are going to change. So here we set the alarm when the pickup is created. Now what do we want to do when the alarm goes off? Well, so let's do that. We add an alarm event. So this is the other side. When alarm 0 goes off, what do we want to do? And the answer is we just want to execute our script again. Now we are in the pickup, so we don't have to say other. So now when we play the game, we should see the pickups move around after about 10 seconds. Anytime the pickup gets recreated, okay, so watch our pickups. They all should move after about 10 seconds. Yeah, see how they all move? But then if I run over a few of them, that will change some of the timing. Let's see, now they should change kind of randomly. It might be nice to randomize the times a little bit. Still waiting. Come on, move. They're not moving. Uh-oh. Why aren't they moving? It's because we didn't reset the alarm. When we're not destroying them and recreating them. We're just moving them. So the create event's not being called. Oops. Yeah, it's great at the beginning because you create it and that's fine. But also when you move it, when you run over it, so this is when there's a collision between the parent tank and the pickup. So let's look at that. What we have to do, all of this, here's when we move it, but we also have to reset the alarm here too. So let's do that. So here, again, we say alarm. That's not alarm. Alarm. So we set the alarm. Again, we're in the tank. Okay, we're in the tank object. Let's just make sure we're in the tank object. There's the tank object. So we have to say other here. Other. And again, set it to, we said 50 times 10 is 500. Okay. So we set the alarm there, and then also when the alarm goes off in the pickup, not only do we have to move it, but we also have to set the alarm there as well. Okay. So set alarm 0 back to 500. Okay. So now, notice that we had to do that in all 3 spots. That's a good indication that you need to move that into the script, and that way you only have to do it in 1 spot. So we're going to pull that into the script perhaps next time. But now you should see not only when the sprite will the pickups move after they're first created, but they'll also respawn. We're just waiting here for them to respawn. Now they're respawning. Will they respawn after I drive over them? Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure we have enough pickups here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't see the 6th one. It might be on the bottom. I can't really see the bottom of my screen, which is frustrating. There it is. Okay. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I see 6. Okay, so now they're kind of spawning, kind of randomly, different spaces. As you play the game, it'll get frustrating because you'll be driving towards a pickup, and then suddenly it disappears. But that's part of the fun. Okay, I think we're done now.